What's up, y'all? It's your boy Gareth, and I'm bringing you the tier list for season one of The War Within. This is what I'm feeling like are the best specs going into season one without the tier sets yet. I'm just gonna start with Fury Warrior right at the top with S tier, despite the nerfs. Um, Despite Odin's Fury and Thundering Ward's nerf, Fury just has still just so much damage. Warrior utility, survivability, everything else, and you have the 36% mortal strike, super strong. Assassination Rogue. It does just absurd amounts of damage. It's a rogue. It has all that utility that goes into the rogue toolkit: blind, vanish, kidney, cheap shot, garrote. Just it looks really good. DH got unnerfed. They no longer do less damage anymore. Their damage is really, really high and really, really scary. Um, Especially if you're running the Chaos Blades build. Your Chaos Blades are actually hitting insanely hard with Annihilation off of your demonic or demon within. Frost DK, no changes. I think the only thing that got nerfed was Icy Torrent, but who cares? All your other damage is still really high. All your hero talents are really good. Unholy, same thing. You're super tanky. You do a lot of damage. Your disease is really good. Riders of the Apocalypse is huge. Preservation, Evoker. It doesn't has the best healing, does insane dam, AoE stun on everybody. Just a really good spec. Frostmage did get their ice lances nerfed, but I don't think it's gonna have as much of an effect that Blizzard wants. They're still doing a lot of damage. They're still S tier, maybe even A. Feral, they buffed Rake and Rip. It's gonna make your sustain higher. It looks like they nerfed the bleed or the Feral. Go with I believe whatever it was called. I don't remember right off the top of my head, but their burst damage is gonna get lowered from what it was with the ferocious bite. So going on to Resto Shaman. Super tanky, great utility, great healing. Team utility, static totem, all that good stuff. 3 knockbacks, super annoying to deal with. And they get 2 statics because they just reset that totem. They can drag someone across the arena. Super annoying. It can be really annoying. Going on to A tier, all the strengths of Fury, a little more utility. You still have a lot of burst damage with Demolish and Slayer, and just making your overall damage with Slayer even higher with your sustain, and Demolish being really burst oriented. In that go, still just doing a ton of damn. Great utility. Enhancement. Enhance is getting a 60% buff to Wind Fury, Lava Lash, and Storm Strike. I think it's going to outperform what it was expected to be with Storm Strike doing 1% of someone's health. And now your Wind Fury doing 60% more damage, and it was already one of your top damaging abilities. Lines up, your Doom Winds lines up with your Bloodlust. Just makes it all that much more stronger. Great synergy with Warriors, Casters, and everything else in between. Great with Unholy DK, Arms Warrior, Fury Warrior. Even a Rogue can play with Enhance. Feral Druid. Hunter, a lot of other classes can play with Enhance. Enhance synergizes really well with a lot of classes. Has the Shaman utility. It's still a little bit squishy, but has really good self-healing and off-healing. Destro, the double coil, huge chaos bolts, conflagrates, shadow burns, all that. Evoker's getting buffed tremendously. Devastation Evoker's getting buffed crazy amounts. Really good. And I think they can fly. They can choose where to fly around, and they get more distance, so they can stun everything. And yeah, I think you can stun a second time. Actually, I've seen it stun a second time. It's crazy. Moving on to Marksman, does a lot of damage. Probably the best hunter spec. The only problem with it is you still have to cast, but I think they fixed a lot of that issue with rapid fire. They made some interesting changes to rapid fire and arcane fire and a lot of other things. You do have a lot more ways to be annoying in your tree now, and they fixed the tree. It was good, but now it's even better. Resto Druid, ton of healing. If you can get drinks, you can pretty much keep your team alive for the whole time. But if you do not, you will fall behind. Same thing as every other druid spec in the game. Tons of damage, tons of healing, depending on the situation, what comp it is. Great utility, great CC. Boomkin, same deal. They buffed Star Surge. They buffed a lot of things. I think they nerfed some of your builders, but Star Surge got buffed. Starfall got buffed. You're still a pain in the ass to catch. You can play with Assassination Rogue and have really good synergy. Ret War is still going to be incredible. Cupid's still going to be incredible. Rets have a great utility for the arena. Really good burst damage, really good AoE damage with how their talents now work. Just overall, just always been a really good arena spec. Discipline, a lot of healing, a lot of buffs for your team with PI and Dark Angel. I think with a lot of specs that are getting buffed and nerfed, this spec will outshine a lot of other specs and it'll be a very aggressive spec. I think the playstyle for Discipline will be highly aggressive. It'll be a risk reward type deal and it'll pay off. Shadow Priest, lots of damage, great utility with the Fear, Stun, Silence on the healer. Can't complain. It's looking really great. The damage is there. Great survivability. Still can get kicked on VT and instantly die, which is unfortunate, but overall, they're doing really well as far as what I've seen. Windwalker Monk, still kind of squishy, but still has a lot of burst, great mobility. Their cooldowns are crazy. Their burst damage is incredible. They're able to just delete people from the game. Great sustain damage. Okay-ish utility with Disarm, Ring, and a few other things that just make them annoying. Vis of Fury is annoying. Move on to Demo Lock. I think the thing with Demo Lock, what a lot of people don't understand, is Demo has stuns and has utility versus the other two Warlock specs. Maybe the damage is a little bit low, per se, but I've seen it hit pretty hard. I don't think the damage is low. I think maybe compared to some specs, the damage is low, but let's be honest, like to Assassination, yes, the damage is low, but Demonology still has a lot of utility. I think it might need a slight buff, but I'm going to put it in A just for that reason, from the utility that it has with the Axe Toss and the double Axe Toss, Coil and Fears and everything else, and being able to be even more annoying. Arcane, still tons of damage, hard to catch, you're just annoying. Elemental, annoying to catch, the same as Resto Shaman. You have Gust of Wind, you have a lot of ways to be annoying. You're tanky, you can heal for a lot. You're just overall not very pleasant to fight at all. You have Tempest with the Stormbringer, you do a lot of damage. Just really hard to get overall. Their damage is great, the utility is great, great Shaman utility, AoE stuns, grounding, all that good stuff. Prot Warrior, this might be kind of a surprise to some of y'all. It does fantastic damage, has great utility, very disruptive spec, really annoying. Things like Dragon Charge, Stop Cast, 2 stuns, Fear, peels for your team. Just Prot, and the thing is, with Prot, you have Storm of Destruction with Ravager, and it's a 50% reduction in healing. And that debuff lasts for 11 seconds. So, and that's even after Ravager ends. Or it's 10 or 11 seconds, whatever it is. Ravager lasts for about 11.5 seconds. So, it's about a 20-second debuff and a 50% healing reduction if they're standing in it for the full duration. I would say more closer to 14-15 seconds. Subtlety Rogue still has fantastic burst. Sustain sucks, but their utility with Shadow Dance is really good. They set up kills. Of course, there are no Assassination Rogue, but they still have that Subtlety utility where you just stun everything. You still have good burst damage. You can remove someone in the game from Shadowy Duel. You can remove someone you're trying to kill and you try to finish them, and or Shadowy Duel the healer. I've seen some rogues do a lot of damage, and I've seen a lot of rogues bitch about it and say it doesn't do enough damage. It's kind of like a hot take. I think Subtlety is either one of those specs where it does insane damage or it does nothing, in my personal experience. Brewmaster Monk still does a ton of damage. They nerfed the chi burst by 30%, but it's not going to mean anything, Really, it's still a tank. It's still gonna have the disruption, ring of peace, stun, kick, the root effect in your tree, where it drags you to the person and then drags you to them or them to you. That can be seen as a pseudo interrupt, ox kick, just a lot of things that make this spec highly annoying. Tiger breath that can AoE disorient everybody, just a really annoying spec and does a pile of damage. Ross DK, you can kidnap people with grip and have asphyxiate and have slappy hands. Team utility with AMZ, and if you're running spell warden, well, now you can give someone a AMZ to prevent some damage, and you're unkillable. So you can peel for a caster the entire game. 15 seconds on grip is a really good thing. It can be used as a pseudo interrupt. It can be used as a peel for someone on your team. What else about blood? Oh, it's doing a ton of damage. Death strikes are hitting anywhere from 500k to 1.1 million from what I've seen. Same with Prot, Warrior, up there, hitting like a goddamn train. Just does so much damage. Both specs are just hitting super hard. Aflock is kind of one of those specs where, yes, it does a ton of damage, but outside of that, it just gets absolutely slaughtered by everything. Nobody wants to deal with an Aflock. They just do too much damage. Melee cleaves crush Affliction Warlock. Augmentation I've played with one in about 15-20 skirmishes. The buffs that they give you are huge. The damage is absolutely disgusting from what I've seen. I enjoy it. Looking really good. The sustained damage maybe isn't as high, but the buffing of someone else, that's kind of just how that spec works anyway. But I think Augmentation definitely has a place in PvP depending on the comp. And if there's a really overtuned class like Windwalker where it makes the scaling for Windwalker and crazy. Survivals, I still feel like it has mechanical problems. Survival's a weird bastard hunter spec where it's melee ranged. If you have to kite, you're not doing anything. You're basically sitting in the water. If you're able to do something, it's very impactful. You're tankier, I believe, than the other two specs, but you're still a confused hunter that hasn't made up its mind if it's melee and or, ranged. Fire Mage, they buffed Fire Mage. They buffed Living Bomb by 30%, Flame Strike, and Pyroblast. I think Pyroblast by 5%, and your Flame Strike by 10%. It just makes your damage that much higher. Fistweaver got nerfed by the renewal change, so your renewal got reduced by 50% on its 3-minute cooldown. So it was a minute and a half. Now it's a third, so now it's a 2-minute cooldown. Makes Fistweaver kind of useless now in a lot of ways. You kind of lose a lot of momentum with it. Maybe it could still be good. Mistweaver, Castweaver is weak. You can only play with casters. You can't really push with anybody. If you get CC'd, you're always 2 globals behind because you got a Soothing Mist and then use your things or use your Empowered Brew. Doesn't feel great. They did buff Life Cocoon, and Enveloping Mist still is no longer purgeable, so that could actually push it up to low A, but I think it's still going to sit in B. I know a lot of people were saying it's C tier, but I think it's B. It still has really good HPS, but it ooms. That is the one side where it sucks. As where Resto Druid and basically Discipline, Shadow, or not Shadow, Resto Shaman and Preservation are those three healers. Preservation is just mind-numbingly ridiculous. It is broken. Beastmaster, your pets can be slaughtered by melee. Not a great thing. The reason why I have Bear here is I've seen some unique things with this spec, which are rather interesting, running the Feral build. Using full bleeds for Feral, and just doing unhealable damage with Feral, and being unkillable, and having off heals, and being very disruptive as Bear. It's just kind of a guess, and more in my opinion. I've seen some interesting things with Bear that actually do look pretty good. Holy Pally, the HBS sucks. They nerf everything you have. Doesn't look that great. Sack is strong. A lot of things about Paladin are strong, but there's a lot of other classes that just purge your stuff off. Mages, DHs, Shamans, a lot of other things. Your stack isn't as strong anymore. Holy Priest, they did buff, I think, was a Prayer of Mending by 65% in PvP combat. But I don't think that's going to matter too much, is where it's just kind of one of those specs where it just seems to benefit when secondary stats are higher, and then it shines because its utility is crazy. At the start of the expansion, it just always it doesn't look that good just because of the secondaries in the game. I feel in the first season's always a little bit more one-shotty. Is where you start getting dampening comps in the later parts of the expansion. Outlaw, combat, whatever you want to call it. Absolutely dog. You lost, what is it, acrobatic strikes. So you no longer have the, was it 3 yards or was it 5 yards or whatever it was with your cleave. It's already a really weird spec anyway. Just play assassination. You'll have way more damage, better utility. You'll have over time damage. You don't have to be on the target. Maybe it'll start to shine once stats increase. It's kind of like one of those specs where it's always been kind of like Fury Warrior in a lot of ways, where Fury doesn't really start becoming good until the end of the expansion. I think this is the first expansion where Fury is even remotely considered, S tier or A tier, and in so long as far as PvP. What the hell is even a tank demon hunter? Their single target seems to be good, but outside of that, I think they lost Illidan's Grasp. They lost a few other things. Overall, it just feels like a really weird spec. I think as far as maybe carrying a flag, it's still pretty good, but I think there's other specs like Guardian Druid that are going to be good. Blood DK, Prot Warrior, things like that. Prot Warrior got buffed with the magical reduction. And then the last bastard spec is a Prot Pally. I think this could see some play in some weird like meme dream composition, but as far as the serious push, I don't see Prot Pally. I think it does good damage, but I think after that you just fall off the end. You take too much damage. You're not able to have that active mitigation is where Blood and Prot Warrior have it, and that's pretty much it. You just fall behind and you die. Your Angel sucks. It can be killed. If it couldn't be killed, I think Prot would go instantly from here to up here. But anyway, that's my tier list. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is updated with the September 3rd changes that are coming. So I hope y'all enjoy and y'all have a good one. See you later.